September 16th, 2024. This is the Carlton Independent School District number 93, and this is our regular school board meeting. If at any time you can't hear me, I know it's very warm in here, but and my voice isn't all that great, but if you can't hear, just raise your hand and we'll all talk a little bit louder. Sue, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Julianne.
Here.
Susan. Here. Laura. Here. Sam.
Here.
Aaron. Here. Ryan.
Here.
Lexi. Absent. Lily. Absent. Danita. Here. Thank you.
Do you rise as you are able? We'll cite the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first item is to approve the meeting agenda. Board members, we do have one addition, 10.17. This is to approve an FMLA request of Cindy Erickson. So 10.17, and then just reminders should move from 10.18. So 10.17, approve the FMLA request of Cindy Erickson. Are there any other changes or additions or amendments to the agenda? If there are none, do I have a motion, please, to approve the meeting agenda with the amendment as presented?
Motion.
Motion by Ryan, is there support?
I support.
There's support from Aaron. Is there any discussion? There's no discussion. Are there any objections? There being no objections, that motion carries 6-0. 3.0 is our recognition of the public. Just a quick notice about public comment. I'd ask that you please state your name and your resident district. If you raise your hand, I'll acknowledge you. Please limit your comments to items on the regular meeting agenda, and comments should be limited to 3 minutes each. With that, are there any folks here who would like to speak tonight? Yeah, Tommy.
Hey.
Go ahead.
Tommy Jacobson, Carlton School District. The only one that I really had a question on, and I'm just hoping that there'll be at least a little bit of discussion with, and if you can't hear me, I'll try to talk loud. But it was just on 10.3. I had heard kind of through the grapevine, through the employment agreement essentially, for severance potentially involved with regards to consolidation in particular. When I went over to the file and was able to find it in the attachment for that contract, it states 12 months for the severance. So obviously totally understand severance packages, we got to be competitive in the marketplace, everything along those lines, but I was just hoping to hear a little more discussion with regards to that, because I did notice that the term was through 27, and I know that we are looking at consolidation for years 25, 26. And potentially, and I didn't get a chance to see exactly what the pay rate was, but that would potentially put us at potentially 12 months, just another added expense or potential speed bump. And even though it's possibly very minimal, I just know that it could cause potential speed bumps. So just hoping for some discussion from the board before approval on that. That's all that I really had and was kind of curious about for this evening, so thank you.
Yes, Ms. Schoenberg.
I noticed I'm not on the agenda for 6 reports.
Well,
so
you were supposed to be.
I thought I was.
Well,
so.
you are now.
Okay.
Consider yourself on the agenda. That is Dawn Schoenberg. She is the director of our PCN grant. She'll be providing a report for us. Dawn, I'll actually probably have you go first when we get to the committee reports, and then we'll follow
Thank you.
with Daisy. And you can adjourn that for attention. Okay, anybody else? Yes, Rachel.
Rachel Swanson, district resident, and I teach preschool at the elementary. And I just wanted to make comments regarding the extended contract being offered for the business manager position. I've been trying to follow consolidation talks. I know it's been horrible, difficult, and all that stuff. Thank you for what you're doing with that. And I understand one of the sticking points is whether or not, we allow a new consolidated board to hire the staff administration supervisory roles, or, we have a transition period with, the staff that's, already. So just looking at the agenda, attachment C, I feel that offering an extended contract for the business manager position, July 24 into June 2027 will be another impediment, for consolidation talks. And feel that as a struggling school district, we need to be mindful of our actions and how they will affect, consolidation talks. I understand not wanting to start a new district with totally new administration and supervisory staff, but at some point we will need to trust the new board to take the reins. Can we consider making it a 2-year contract, continue to work toward consolidation goal of July 2026? And I hope we can continue to find solutions to make consolidation happen and be mindful to not putting up more roadblocks.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay. With that, we will move into our presentations. We don't have any tonight. Congratulations and commendations. We'll start out with a shout out to our Carlton staff for a great start to the school year. And our custodians for having the buildings ready to go, and to our 4.0 transportation department for a flawless start to the school year. Great job, everybody. As you can see, we have a plaque up here which says congratulations to Carlton graduate Sam Kavanaugh for being a 5-time Jeopardy champion in 2019 and the tournament champion in 2021. And he's been a very busy young man, but when he does come here, we'll be happy to present that to him. He can't be here tonight, I don't think, but just notice it when you're coming in and out. 5.0, we just want to thank our fellow school board member Sue Karp for being the long-running representative for the International Student Exchange Program. And also at the same time, we want to thank Heidi Ojibwe, also a longtime community member, for taking over as that representative for our International Student Exchange Program. Anybody who is familiar with Carlton knows that that has been a strong tradition for a very long time in the school district, and we welcome our international exchange students as much as we can, and so having somebody take over the reins of that program is terrific. So we really appreciate that. Thank you for your work on that, Sue, taking it back and going with that. Any other congratulations or commendations? 6.0 our reports. Our first report will be from Dawn Schoberger. Her name. Schoberg. She's the director of our PCN grant.
Thank you for putting me on the agenda.
Yeah, thank you.
So we had our back to school bash on Wednesday, August 21st from 1 to 6 p.m. We had about 200 students and families and community members that attended this event. Staff thought it was a good turnout for the first time doing this event. We did have obstacle inflatables in the big gym. We had a magician. We had Holy Smokes with their barbecue for from 3 to 5. And so yeah, and I had 45 people fill out feedback surveys, and I haven't, and they gave me a lot of information. I haven't tallied up all the info yet, but I was amazed by all the folks that had filled out the surveys, so I was grateful for that. When last Friday, a week ago Friday, we had, or I should say last Friday, we handed out tote bags or backpacks, t-shirts, and notebooks to the teachers. The notebooks or the backpacks and totes were filled up with school supplies for the teachers. Students, we handed out water bottles, t-shirts, and notebooks, and we did this during the General Assembly second hour last Friday, and then we played a couple games with the 6th to 12th graders. So, Sean Kopiak helping me out with that, along with the other staff. We've had 2 youth group meetings, last Thursday, 1 junior high, 1 senior high. We have an adult community steering committee meeting this Wednesday at 5:45 in my office, so if there's any adults who would like to participate in that, you're more than welcome. So again, on Wednesday, September 18th at 5:45 in my office. I also in the process of hiring another youth group leader. Sean Kupiak is going to be a youth leader, and also Bethany Thompson. And I don't know if we can approve her tonight or next month, I don't know, but she's.
Next month.
Okay, so yeah, so we're moving forward, and I'm really excited that, to be in this position, promoting the positive community norms in our community under this grant, so, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dawn. And also, for community members and board members, if you haven't noticed, some of the fruits of the PCM grant are here in the library right now. You'll see some of the new furniture, right?
That's
And
what
then-
no.
Then the tables though, the
Oh,
picnic
picnic
tables and
up,
some of
yes,
those
and
things.
the football
This is
field,
a different thing.
And the shed, yep.
Yeah.
This,
Okay.
this library stuff is coming from library aid that's been given to school
There
districts.
we go.
Yep.
Thank you, Dawn. Any questions for Dawn? Good work, thanks for your work. 6.1, our Community Education Director, Daisy Rose. Daisy has provided a written report. Would you like to highlight, Daisy?
As you can see in my written report, preschool started off last week, so we started last Monday with our all-day fours class, and they meet Monday, Wednesday, and they are still meeting on Fridays, even though it's a non-school day for all the other students, and it's working out great so far. We've had one Friday, it's gone good. And then our threes also started last week, and they go Tuesday, Thursdays for half days. So our numbers are okay in those, definitely not the numbers we saw last year. Last year was kind of a different year. So, but healthy numbers, not the overage numbers we had last year. We are currently looking for a new jail ECFE parent educator for our program that we work with the sheriff's office and the jail staff and county programming. So if you know of someone that's interested in a very small part-time job, making an impact in the community, send them my way. Kids Care is starting off with, school year numbers are lower than normal last time, starting off lower than last year at this time, but sometimes those numbers grow. I think on Friday for our first non-school day, I believe they had 10 kids, so not a large amount, but some, and like I said, I foresee some of that may be growing in the future. Yeah. I got unfortunate news that our Taekwondo instructor is not going to be able to teach, which is unfortunate, but I'm hoping to get her back in the future when she is healed and healthy. Youth basketball, I said I did not have anything to report. However, I have just confirmed more recently that Katie is not going to be back as my basketball coordinator, so I need to find a new one in the next couple of weeks. So if you know of anyone that would like to run the youth basketball program in Carlton, also send them my way. Unfortunately, with my minimal hours, I cannot add that on as a main task in my job, so hopefully someone will step up. Katie is more than willing to help along the way for the new person, so kind of a big thing that needs to happen, so hopefully. Also, normally in September, you see the community ed contracts coming for approval. All of my staff, including myself, work at will contracts, so we're year by year. Unfortunately, that wasn't able to happen, so we're hoping for October. I am meeting with Angela on October 1st to get those figured out and hopefully finalized shortly after so that they can be on the October board agenda, because I feel that's important, especially for my staff that continue to show up and work. And then, talking about my staff, I felt that we had some bigger work anniversaries happening right now for my staff and in the community ed world. When you're working part-time, sometimes not guaranteed hours, and you put your heart and your soul into a job, and I think they need to be recognized. So Megan is our preschool teacher, and today it was actually her 10 years of teaching preschool for us. So super excited for that, and like I said, it is unheard of for community ed staff to stick around that long, and so I am so thankful for her and for everyone else too of my team. So, and then Erin, who is her classroom aide, this past Friday celebrated 3 years with us. So she's been doing preschool classroom aide for 3 years. And then I didn't know Rachel was gonna be here tonight, but she is on my highlighting too, because in July, she celebrated 5 years preschool teaching with us. So another great milestone. And yeah, I wouldn't be able to do my job without my staff, and a lot of stuff wouldn't happen in the school without my staff, so I appreciate that.
Just one minor thing, Daisy, you have on here too, your Minnesota Community Education Association, that's coming up in the fall, and that's actually happening locally this year.
Yes.
But you also have a larger role in that.
I was helping with some of the breakouts and stuff, and I'll be helping host some rooms and stuff at the.
Okay, so, and you'll report back to us when you return from.
And I am trying to we took preschool off, we made preschool be off that week because we had to shorten the program anyways, and then that's opening up for a good chunk of our staff to be able to attend, since it is local and we won't have to pay for lodging and all that stuff. So hopefully most of my staff will be attending with me.
That's great, and thank you for your extra work in doing that too. Board, we have a very small district, so the strength of our community education is a testament to Daisy's hard work. Thank you for that. We have yeah, please.
Just curiosity,
Yeah.
under the Bulldogs Kid Care thing, it says that after school numbers are around 12, which is lower than past, and then Fridays are at 10. What is about average in the past few years for
I would say
Kid
the
Care?
past couple years, we'd probably be closer to the 20 mark for
Okay.
after school. And that can fluctuate a
Sure.
lot, like some families need us some all days, some need us every other week, it varies.
Right.
But also when we see like a decline in numbers in our elementary school, we also see that hit with
Naturally.
our kids' care,
Yeah.
right? But it's still, I think we're at still a decent number.
Awesome. No,
Considering.
I was just kind of curious as
Yeah.
to how much to.
No,
Thank
that's
you.
a good question, thanks.
Anybody else? Thank you, Daisy. We have 6.2, we have our South Terrace principal here, Carrie Solars. She's offered a written report. What would you like to add?
Yeah, I can do a few highlights. So some celebrations would be the kindergarten transition day was a great success. Our kindergarten teachers were able to assess a lot of our kiddos, and then they were very excited to come to school on that Wednesday. We have really small class sizes in kindergarten right now, sitting at about 12. But if you know anything about kindergarten, this is a major celebration. These kids are going to do great this year, and they're going to excel, which is amazing. Also, our enrollment numbers, we're currently at 151 for our entire elementary. Last spring, we were sitting at 157, if that puts some perspective there for your numbers. So we're not really that shy from where we were last spring. Some other celebrations, we've been working really hard at really hitting our PBIS, which is teaching our kids those common expectations across all spaces in our building. I think it's been going really well. We're seeing little kindergarten kids enter the school building showing 0, which makes me smile. We're telling them every day on the announcements, remember, show 0 in the hallways, and just working super hard on keeping bathrooms clean. We have some new staff, our light duty cleaner. He tells us that he's the expert at bathroom cleaning. If you ever go to the Northwoods Hockey Arena, he's the guy monitoring the bathrooms. He's a good guy to have at South Terrace. We are also celebrating that we're almost fully staffed. So I have an interview this week for a paraprofessional position. And if that person kind of fits the bill, then we will be fully staffed at South Terrace. And every time I say this, I want to go with this. Because we love South Terrace, we love our staff, and we want to retain all those good people. So teachers are undergoing training for curriculum. We are adopting right now a pilot. So it's just a pilot, we're trialing, Benchmark Advanced 2022. So in the past, they were utilizing the 2018 version. So some of our teachers are familiar with it, which is great, and we'll see where that goes. So half the year will be the 2022 version, and the last half of the year will go back to that 2018 version, which is a win-win because you're essentially with the same company, just kind of seeing, you know, if the rigor's up and if it's meeting that science of reading piece. Otherwise, I think that's all the highlights. Oh, and CST TV is back up and running. Check it out if you'd like. Our little reporters.
Carrie, could you just give a quick update on the training, the
Oh.
READ Act training, quick?
Yeah, and then READ Act training manuals are in, so all teachers are now licensed. We have 2 teachers at the high school, so our special education teachers who have to undergo this training, since it's all K-12 if you're in special education as a teacher. And then all of our elementary teachers, and then myself with the admin license, and then our early childhood, we have 3 doing that training as well.
And when
So,
does that happen?
We're starting now.
Trying to do most of them on Fridays?
Well, there's only
Some of them?
4, there's 4 training sessions this year that we have to attend. So everyone's registered for this whole school year, but you're working through your manual on your own time, kind of on Fridays. And then you would attend with your national facilitator on a registered Friday that you schedule. So, but yeah, a lot of that work is being done on Fridays. And I'm glad you mentioned that because that's really amazing for our teachers right now with all of the push that we have for reading training. It's a lot of work.
Most school districts don't have the opportunity to be able to provide, they have to provide the training, but all those teachers have to do it outside of the school day to make it happen. So I feel very proud with Carrie that we were able to provide that for our teachers.
Yeah, our staff is very happy that we have that time.
Yeah.
So I have a question.
Yes.
So was the Indian Ed spot at the elementary, was that filled?
I have not heard yet if she
Okay.
officially accepted the position.
She did not officially accept, was gonna talk about that when we get to, the finance committee, but the short answer is we talked to her, we interviewed her, she was pretty excited about it, then when we provided the offer to her, she declined. So we're back with square one with, finding somebody for that position.
Any other questions? Thank you. All right, our 6.4, we have our American Indian Education Coordinator, Gracie is here tonight.
Yeah, so I have a quick one. Indigenous Peoples Day is October 14th. So the Tribal College graciously invited Carlton to attend their cultural demonstrations, events day to celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day, which is amazing. So all of our middle school will be heading over there, and then the plan is for the elementary to do cultural, teaching about the culture, teaching about the history, again, as we did last year as well. So I'm hoping to get that sheet up and running so maybe we'll share it with you guys at the next school board meeting. Indigenous food in August, I attended Indigenous food training with Valerie and Ina, and we had 2 days of just a ton of experience, learning opportunities, and actually watching Indigenous food be cooked, so that we are able to now incorporate that into our lunches here at the schools. So Indigenous Peoples Day will be the first day. I think Val has wild rice hot dish on the menu for that day, and then more will be added in as the school year goes on. I have my first college visit scheduled for October 11th. We're going to be going back to the University of Minnesota Twin Cities for their Indigenous Peoples Welcome Day, where they are offering campus tours. They're going to have a panel of Indigenous students and faculty, so we'll be able to go in and listen, and then they will also be providing lunch for us as well. So our kids are super excited about that. Room painting, I had some kids come in, touch up a little things so far, but they still want to keep in and working on the room as well. We have 6 seniors this year, and all of them are planning on attending college, which is a huge accomplishment. So below I have, one of my students was already accepted into the tribal college for peace officer. And then I have 2 that want to go to LSC, and I have one that is looking at the University of Michigan right now. And then a few others. So very excited about that. I'm hoping that I'm able to get those students on the right track so that they can pursue their educational
Journey.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Any comments or questions for Gracie? Miss anybody? All right, we'll move into our superintendent's report. Danita step in. Danita's also most likely going to give board committee reports as well. So you have the floor.
So Sounds good. Yeah, you know, you got my board report. I just wanted to give a shout out to the school board for School Board Recognition Month. It always amazes me, the work that you guys put in and the work that gets accomplished at a school board level for little to no recognition. So I just wanted to give a shout out. It is School Board Recognition Month, but besides that, just really appreciate this board more than you can imagine. So thank you for your work. We've done a lot over the last year, and I guess I just think when you write it down, it's pretty amazing to see what you've accomplished in this past year. So I just listed the things that I could remember. You know, we've implemented a new strategic plan. We have built and designed an outdoor classroom at South Terrace and the high school. We've implemented project-based learning at the high school, middle school. We're working on embedding the American Indian standards into curriculum. We've embedded interdisciplinary STEAM into our elementary school and working on it at the middle school, high school. We've gifted the tennis courts to the city so that they can create pickleball courts for us. We're starting to redesign the library, the front foyer at South Terrace. You've seen the changes at South Terrace in the front foyer area, but you can look around here and you can see that we're working on the middle school, high school now with some new furniture here to try to engage students more in this space. We've done some work in restructuring our district office. We've partnered with area schools on different courses. We became the fiscal host for the co-op, the sports co-op. We've implemented a 4-day week for students that includes some exploratory options. We're working on designing a new applied learning academy. We talked about that the last couple of meetings that we've had. We were awarded the School of Excellence Award at South Terrace last year. We were awarded a $169,000 grant for solar panels that will begin this spring. And we were awarded 3 new 3D printers and training for staff at the middle school, high school. So those are just the things that I could remember. I think that we could probably add to that list, but that's a pretty amazing list of things that you've accomplished as a school board in the last year. So I just wanted to do a shout out and say thank you for that work, because if there's one thing that I love and appreciate is being in a position to make change, and it keeps me motivated and keeps me going as well. So thank you for being who you are. We have a bunch of new staff. I've listed them there. I couldn't be more proud of the staff that we've been able to hire. I think that we have positivity in our buildings right now. I think we got happy staff in our buildings right now. I think it has been just an incredible start to the school year, and I have to give that shout out to our administrators for hiring such high quality staff. Like Carrie said, I think we've got one position at the South Terrace still to hire for, and we've got a food service cook at South Terrace that I think we are just finalizing as we speak. So otherwise, we're fully staffed around the building as well. Well, I gotta add the American Indian coordinator position because we thought that was covered, and that position has been declined. So we're gonna talk about we've already reposted for that. We've got a Raptors update that you had that link for the communication. Very proud of Brent for the work that he puts in as the athletic director. The communication that he sent out is phenomenal. I hope you had a chance to read that, and that's a way for him to keep you updated as well with the Raptors, what's happening with the Raptors. So thank you for that. And then, as Julianne had pointed out, you have a sheet in your packet that says school board bio questions. We're just asking you to fill this information out. Maybe by the time you leave today would be really great. And the idea behind this is just that we have a little information for you. We'd like to put a paragraph together. We'd like to get that as sort of a meet the school board on our website. We'll use this information to just create the paragraph, and then before we put anything on the website, we'll give you a draft copy, and you can tell us if you approve or not approve. So we won't put anything on there that you don't want, but filling this out will help us have some information to start that bio. And that's all I've got for a report for September. Any questions? Okay. Move right on to the.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
All right. So just want to move right along to the committee reports. As I sent an email out to all of you today, because as I was reviewing the board packet today, realized that the 3 committee reports that you have in your packet were the wrong reports. We copied the wrong date when we put them in there. So in your folder, you have the 3 committee reports in front of you. So I was just gonna kind of go through and read through those. So why don't we start with policy committee? There's very few changes on that, but you can see that most of the policies we're asking you to approve are only 1 reading policies. We met online this time around because these last policies were last updated in 2022. And so there weren't really very many changes that needed to take place on these policies moving forward for 2024. And so I just took all the 200 policies that we have, and I'm just asking you to approve those in 1 reading. So you'll be asked to do that later. Any questions on policy? Well, let's look at policy 522. 522 is Title IX, sex discrimination policy. That's 2nd reading. So in your board report, you likely were seeing some changes on the 2nd reading for the policy 522. The 3rd reading at the next board meeting will have all of the changes updated and made and changed, and you'll see the final on the 3rd reading at the next school board meeting. And that's a 3rd reading because that has more changes in it than any of the policies above that only require 1. Any questions on policy?
The ones that only require 1 reading are non-substantive changes to them. They're just a matter of going through them. As I always urge the board to read them, the 200 policies are the school board policies relevant to the school board in particular. Read all of them. If you have any changes, you need to get back with us before that 3rd and final reading on 522.
Okay. Facilities committee, we met on Monday, September 9th, and we essentially talked about 2 things. We talked about possible abatement to renovate our parking lots and possibly some security cameras. So we're still kind of looking through that process. And then we also just kind of talked about the future facilities and just some of the issues that we're going to need to talk about replacing. And kind of one of the discussions really came from, no matter what we do with consolidation, no matter what happens, updates are likely needed in this building. Just like you would update your house at home to sell it, we talked about the need to update the building to sell it, no matter if consolidation happens or not. So that was really the discussion that we have, and that we're going to have to start making some decisions about what to do with this building. And so we'll just keep you in the loop. I guess we'll just keep this going at the next facilities meeting moving forward. You can see what I've got on there. LED lighting's going to need to be updated. That's new legislation. Small gym upgrade. We've got some asbestos in there that we'll need to upgrade. Some HVAC changes in the north wing, some windows in the north wing, locker room heating, a 2nd boiler update. We've got a part of the roof that needs to be updated, kitchen remodel, security. Those are the things that we talked about that we'll need to have a conversation about moving forward, regardless of when and if consolidation happens. Any questions about that? Okay, and then Finance Committee met on September 11th at 4:30, and we always get a financial update from Angela, so she gave the board the financial update with all of the numbers. You can see that in your board report. We talked about the APAC position, the home to school liaison. We talked about, essentially what I could say about that APAC position is we were pretty excited. I was reluctant. I wanted to make sure the Finance Committee understood that by hiring this position, it's an additional cost. And so I wanted to make sure that, the committee supported that decision moving forward. Because the money that we receive from the state of Minnesota for American Indian program does not cover the cost of salaries for the APAC committee. So I wanted to make sure that the committee understood that that will be an additional cost to replace that position. We talked about some possible candidates. It was determined that, yep, the committee supports that idea. We talked about that we wanted what we want, when we're talking about being so big, so different, so unique, so innovative in our district, this was one way for us to do that. And we thought that hiring one of a really highly qualified American Indian home to school liaison that can work with Gracie to create the best American Indian program in the state, we felt confident that we could make that happen, and I was pretty excited about that. We did interview somebody we thought would be great. That interview went really well. I think that person, for whatever reason, decided to decline that position, but is still willing to help Gracie out with all of the cultural experiences that she can bring to the table. So we're glad to have that person still be part of it, but we are going to go back to the drawing table and see if we can find another candidate for that position. Okay? We talked about the PCN grant and the amount of workload that the PCN grant has sort of brought to Angela's position and all of the financial part that she has to take care of in that position. We talked about that the PCN grant has administrative stipends that are aligned to that position to help with that workload, so we talked about that. We talked about Val's contract 24-26, the negotiations for Val as our food service director. That included a 2-year agreement, a $1 per hour raise each year, and increasing her workday by 30 minutes each day, which is going to help her continue the work that she has to do each day. We talked about Angela's contract, business manager contract. We talked about a 3-year agreement. We talked about moving her from .8 to full-time. We talked about a severance pay in the event of a consolidation and pay increases each year just like we do with everybody else's contract. I can answer any questions that are regarding that later if needed. We talked about the milk and bread bids. The committee recommended the Kemps as our milk vendor and Panagold Baking as our bread vendor. That was the only bids that we received, and so it was an easy decision to make from the finance committee. And then I just gave the finance committee an update of the facilities committee meeting, which was, there's a lot of upgrades that are going to need to be happening in the next couple of years, and we talked about what we could, how we're going to possibly pay for that. So anyway, more to come on facilities, but that's the finance update. Any questions?
Any questions at this time? All right. There are none. Thank you, Anita.
Yep.
We'll move into 7.0 in our business portion of the meeting. 7.0, board members, you've had an opportunity to review the items on the consent agenda. Do I have a motion, please, to approve those items? Motion by Aaron. Is there support?
Support.
Support from Ryan. Any discussion? There's no discussion. Are there any objections? There's no objections. That motion carries 6-0. 8.0 old business, we don't have any this month. 9.0 new business, attachment B. The first order of business is to approve the tuition agreement between Carlton and Cloquet for $624.09 per semester per student for the 24-25 school year for an auto mechanics class. Do I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Brian. Is there support?
I support.
Support from Sue. Any discussion? Anita, did you want to say anything with regard to 9.1 and 9.2?
Yeah, I guess all I would just add is just kind of how proud I am of the work of the administrative team for this. You know, we're talking about being different and unique and innovative, right? And we're talking about really personalizing the experience for every one of our students. And we have a student who wants an auto mechanics class, and so we've got an administration that's willing to go out and find that class for that student. And that's kind of part of this Applied Learning Academy that we're trying to promote a little bit. It's the same kind of concept, personalizing the experience for every kid. And so what is it that you want for your educational experience? We're going to go out and find it for you. And that's what is part of 9.1 and 9.2.
Do I have a motion then? I have a motion. I have a second. There was a discussion. Any further discussion or questions? All right, there's no discussion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Pose same sign. The motion carries 6-0. 9.2, there's actually two separate tuition agreements. They're both between Carlton and Renshaw, but you'll see that there are two. One is for construction class, one is for general band. It is in the same amount as the agreement for croquet. Do I have a motion, please, to approve that tuition agreement between Carlton and Renshaw? Motion by Ryan, is there support? There's support from Laura. Any discussion? There's no discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same sign. And that motion carries 6-0. 9.3, board members 9.3, 9.4, and 9.5 are all beginning of the year items that we have. There's a lot of hard work that goes into these. So you make sure that if you have any questions that you seek out the administrator for that building. So 9.3, do I have a motion, please, to approve the South Terrace Elementary School handbook for the 24-25 school year?
Motion.
Motion by Ryan, is there support? Support from Laura. Any discussion or questions? There's no discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries 6-0. 9.4, do you have a motion, please, to approve the staff handbook for the 24-25 school year?
Motion.
Motion by Ryan, is there support? Support from Laura. Is there any discussion? There's no discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same sign. That motion carries 6-0. 9.5, approve the CHS course registration guide for the 24-25 school year. Do I have a motion, please? Motion by Laura, is there support? Support from Aaron. Is there any discussion? There's no discussion. Board members, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. And that motion carries 6-0. 9.6 and 9.7, they're separate, although they're in your packet as one item. There was only one bid for each of the two items. We have to do them in separate motions. Board members, do I have a motion, please, to approve the Pana Gold as our bread vendor for the 24-25 school year? Motion by Ryan, is there support? There's support from Laura. Any discussion? There's no discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. And that motion carries 6-0. 9.7, do I have a motion, please, to approve Kemp's as our milk vendor for the 24-25 school year?
Motion.
Motion by Ryan. Is there support? Support. Support from Aaron. Any discussion? There's no discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries 6-0. 9.8 is a resolution to accept the donation of $200 of school supplies from Sherry Halkett by resolution. So do I have a motion, please, to offer the resolution, move for its adoption? Motion by Laura. Is the resolution supported?
I support it.
Support from Sam. Not quite quick enough there, Sue. So I have a motion by Laura, support by Sam. Sue, would you please call the roll vote?
Yes. Julianne?
Yes.
Susan? Yes. Laura?
Yes.
Sam?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Ryan?
Yes.
The resolution is adopted 6-0. 9.9, we actually need a motion for this. This is to approve the Truth and Taxation meeting to be held December 16th at 7 p.m. Do I have a motion, please? Motion by Laura, is there support?
Support.
Support from
She's on
Sue.
it. She's quick.
Go ahead.
Any discussion? There's no discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. That motion carries 6-0. 9.10 is our annual certifying the proposed 24-25 or payable 25 levy at the maximum levy authority. As you recall, board members, this is an annual approval that we are asked to do to give us the appropriate authority to maximize our levy. Do I have a motion then to certify the proposed 24 payable 25 levy at the maximum levy authority? Motion by Aaron, is there support? Support from Laura. Any discussion? There's no discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, pose same sign. That motion carries 6-0. 9/11 policies, there's only one reading. These are policies 201 through 213. 207 doesn't exist. Note the differences in 203.1.25 and 6. And after tonight, board members, those will be considered adopted. 9.12, other policies that we would have 3 readings on. First readings, we don't have any. Again, policy 522 is a second reading. Board members, make sure you have any questions or concerns and get those to your policy committee members if you need them prior to the next and final meeting. .10, personnel, it's attachment C. Attachments. 10.1, this is to approve a lane change for Amanda Radke, moving from MA to an MA plus 15, effective September 1st, 2024. Do I have a motion by Sue? Guys are out ahead of me, I love it. Motion by Sue, is there support?
Support.
There's support from Sam. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, are there any objections? There being no objection, that motion carries 6-0. 10.2, do I have a motion, please, to approve the contract for Valerie Dahl, Food Service Director for the 24 through 26 school years? Motion by Aaron, is there support? Support from Laura. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all those, any objections, please? Are there any objections? There being no objections, that motion carries 6-0 and the contract is approved. 10.3, this is to approve the contract agreement for Angela Lynn, Business Manager for the 24 through 27 school years. I'll call for a motion in a second. Open the floor for discussion and assume that there will be a call on the vote for it. Do I have a motion, please, to approve the contract agreement for Angela Lynn, Business Manager?
I move.
Motion by Sue, is there support?
I support.
Support from Aaron. I'll open the floor for discussion. Please keep in mind that data privacy does apply, so I will stop you if you enter into areas that are not meant. Any discussion?
I would like to move to table this to October's meeting, with the fact that we did not have a committee or working session last week, and then this information being addressed this morning. I think it's really important to review this. I believe that we should go to a 2-year contract. I don't think a 3-year contract is necessary. We've past practice in our business manager positions have always been a 2-year contract.
There's a motion on the floor. Before you get into your argument with it, since you have a motion on the floor to table it,
Okay.
or
Thank
to
you.
actually bring it, it's not technically tabling it, but you want to bring it to the agenda, it's postponed. You want to bring it to the agenda in October work
Yes.
session.
Yes.
There is a subsequent motion. I called for a motion, there is no original motion on the floor. But I called for a motion, there is a subsequent motion. Since I called for the motion first, is there a motion to approve the contract agreement for Angela Lynn? Oh, I'm sorry, Sue and Aaron did that. So now we have a subsequent motion to table or postpone until the October work session. Is there a second on Laura's motion?
I'll support that.
Motion by Laura, second by Ryan, to postpone that to the October work session. Any discussion? Give me yours. Any discussion?
I just have a question.
Yes.
So, it's not really a question, it's just an obvious, it's obvious thing. So, when we consolidate and the decision is made, if it's not going to be Angela, who is the business manager, then there are 12 months.
Any contract can be renegotiated. negotiated during a consolidation situation.
Yeah. But I'm saying, so if not, she gets a 12 month.
She gets a severance.
Severance.
It's the same thing that was in place for the preceding business managers.
Yep.
It's been in place ever since consolidation has been
I don't remember.
discussed.
I don't remember. Was it 12 months last time too?
Yes, it was, I think it was, but it was in the previous contracts. Also, one thing that I would like to say is that usually with a committee, when a committee makes a recommendation, it goes to committee first, just as all of these things would with any other employment agreement, including food service or any other administrative level. And right now, we have a recommendation from the finance committee who has properly vetted all of the issues with regard to this, including the consolidation discussion in an open meeting, and this is the finance committee's recommendation. When other board members go into their committees and they have their discussions and they come back to the board with a recommendation, most of the time, there are not other board members who are present in those meetings, but they are certainly welcome to be at any given point in time. I would like to say that this finance committee, this is the recommendation of the finance committee, that this contract her contract is up. It's not anything out of unusual or out of the ordinary or any difference. But we have a person who's working extensive hours. This is simply something that is going to a full-time. It's marking actually more consistent with what this person is doing in the job description. And some of the factors that we discussed in terms of the finance committee were the following. When the previous business manager left, and we also lost another person within that administrative office who was roughly at 70,000. That person was not replaced. We only replaced one other person within that district office, and that was to get everybody under control. We've had several people move from that office. So our district administration level has been operating at a level with all of the same issues and concerns. And in a small district, you have to know that errors that occur in the finances are much bigger. If you've got a $100 million school district and there's an error that occurs and it's $100,000, you're not going to notice it as much. If Carlton has somebody who's not in that position, who's not qualified, and we make a mistake, we have a problem. And so qualification matters in that position, and so that was part of the discussion of the finance committee. In addition to that, we have to think about what this district needs right now, not a year from now, not 2 years from now. What does this district need in order to function properly? And in order to do that, that was part of the discussion that the finance committee had. We have 3 different offices, 2 facilities, 3 different offices that are functioning at far less number of people in those than what they used to. And people at this table can attest to that. There's only one person, and there's a person who is also in that office who wears so many different hats, you can't even begin to express the number of hats. I see Stacy shaking her head back there, but you'll have to say that this was the discussion that the administration had. That's the finance committee, that's the discussion that we have. So when we're looking at different contracts and we're looking at the finances and what can be afforded and what cannot, and we're looking at contracts that come up normally in the finance committee, that's what this was. And so this isn't any different than facilities making a recommendation to us about anything else. You want us to spend money on something, facilities comes and makes a recommendation, the board needs to consider that. So that's where we ended up. The facilities committee vetted it in terms of what we can afford, and that's where we left it. So that's what I will say in part of the discussion because I was present for that. And we'll open the floor for anybody else, not Laura, because you've spoken. Sam didn't get much to say, I've said too much. Anybody else?
For me, the biggest piece, I think Angela's fantastic. I think she's an asset for our district. From a contractual standpoint, in terms of where we stand with consolidation right now and some of the lines that have been drawn in the sand, I almost feel like we absolutely need her, but do we need her for 3 years in comparison to 2 years when consolidation talks may hang in the balance with that. That's my biggest concern is the length of the contract more so than anything else. And I feel like the more and more we have decisions like this that we're going, I think the further we get away from consolidation. And I don't know if that's us particularly acting in good faith. And I've been very adamant that I feel like consolidation is appropriate for our district. And when this could potentially be another thing to derail positive communications or interactions, I have a hard time getting behind that when that contract, in my estimation, and I don't know what goes into the duration of these, in my honest estimation, I don't see the difference between 2 and 3 years outside of the fact that it's drawing a bigger divide between us and the other community that, in my estimation, would be beneficial for consolidation. So that's where I stand, Angela. I think you're fantastic.
This is on the topic of postponement.
And I rationalize that from the perspective of where the contract sits right now with a 3-year offer. That's why I support the ideation of postponing it, so that we can kind of read between the lines there a little bit. Maybe there's a happy medium where everybody's happy. I can't get behind the 3 years from that perspective.
Anybody else? Anybody else?
If no one else wants to say anything, looking at the past contracts, the consolidation severances were not full salaries, and I just believe that's really important to consider in this decision.
This is about postponement.
Yep. So this contract, just having the ability to start reviewing everything as of today, and being able to thoroughly go through that as a board member and really make a holistic decision is important to me, and that's why I'm asking to postpone it, because I think it's important for every board member to have that opportunity to read through everything.
Anybody else? Okay, I will call, this is on the motion to postpone. This is a motion by Laura, seconded by Ryan. All those in favor of postponing until the work session, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Aye. Sue, would you please call the roll vote?
Yes. Julianne,
No.
Susan, no. Laura,
Yes.
Sam,
No.
Aaron,
No.
Ryan.
Yes.
The motion passes 4-2. We will consider it tonight. There is a motion on the table. It is a motion by Sue. It is supported by Aaron. Any further discussion?
Yes, I think that we need to consider the 3-year term. All other contracts that we have currently are 2 or 1-year term, and no other contract that I know of, maybe, that I am not sure any other contract provides a consolidation severance of the full amount of wages as well as benefits. And I just think that needs to be reconsidered in agreement with what Ryan said about the consolidation and moving forward and where our district currently is financially.
Okay. Anybody else? Any further discussion?
Am I able to ask for some clarity? Is that a feasibility that I can do in this
Who are
setting?
you asking? No.
The finance
Yeah, you
committee
can ask.
specifically.
Sure.
Hey, what was the rationale behind a 3-year contract offer versus a 2-year contract offer when that date has kind of just been floated around as a potential date for consolidation?
I can answer.
What made
Yeah,
us
please.
say 3
Well,
years
sure, go
versus
ahead.
2 years?
I can answer that. One of the things that I just know as a person sitting in this position, how difficult it is to find a quality business manager. I think it's fair to say that it is one of the most important positions, if not the most important position in a school district. And there just aren't business managers out there. And so when you've got somebody, you want to keep them.
Sure.
And so when we're negotiating contracts, we talk about what is it that this person wants, we talk about what we can give, that's the negotiation process, right? In this particular instant, you talk about you know, the ability to keep somebody for the next 3 years. We don't know when consolidation is gonna happen. We haven't been talking, right? So it's still on the board, it's still out there, but we haven't had a conversation. I don't really even know where we are at this point. But the idea that it's good, I don't even know if I should say this out loud, but the idea that it's gonna happen in 2026, that was the date that we used almost a year ago, right? So when I'm thinking about the reality of 2026, there's a good chance that it can't happen by 2026 because we haven't even started yet. And so, you know, that was part of the discussion. I want my employees to feel valued and excited and happy to be here. And I just know that that position is incredibly difficult to find. And if we lost that position because of a 1 year, we'd be in trouble because we wouldn't have somebody. So I can just give my own point to say, I 100% support it. Maybe it's selfish on my part because I understand the incredible need to have a quality person in that position and the workload that that person has. I want to be able to honor and say, yeah, you know what, we've got her for the next 3 years, and I'm pretty proud of that. We're not going to lose her. So that I can just tell you that that's my position. Does that answer your question?
It does,
Yeah.
yes, and I appreciate it, and I wholeheartedly agree with that, the thought process in which it comes from in terms of valuing what we have, especially when we have something good. I feel like I'd stand differently if our enrollment numbers were actually up versus down this year. Down, as I've made it very, I'd like to assume I've communicated it eloquently. My biggest concern is the lack of a plan B. With consolidation as an option that's looming, us actually having declining enrollment again when this was a hope for all of us to kind of break through the mold and boost enrollment. I guess the optics of it from my perspective almost give me the inclination that like consolidation isn't a desire in any way, shape, or form, and I find that to be rather discouraging.
Nobody's saying that though.
The optics of it for
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
it's how I'm perceiving it without having any of these discussions, and that's something that I have a really hard time getting behind because I feel like when it comes to our students, the kids, our community, no matter what the outcome is, I think everything should be on the table. Anything and everything, popular decision, unpopular decision, it shouldn't matter, and what should matter is the betterment of the education that our kids get. I've ran through brick walls to try to enrich our community, and I get concerned the further we get away from consolidation, that we're making decisive moves ultimately that put us further away from it as opposed to closer to it, or even just being a community with open arms that would be willing to communicate.
If I could just add,
so I do.
sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all
If I could just add to that, nowhere in any discussion did we talk about not consolidating. Like, we still have every intention to move forward. We just talked about that we're, right now, where we are right now, that contract has to be updated. And right now where we are is consolidation is still on the table, but we're a year later. If we were having this conversation last year, maybe that was a different story, but
Sure.
Here we are a year later, and a business manager, a 3-year contract for a business manager in that position is normal. And so when we're making decisions about contracts, it doesn't, Laura, I see your face, it doesn't really mean that Carlton's decision was that way. I think you're right that it was a 2-year contract for the past business managers, but a 3-year contract is normal for a person in that position. And so when we were talking about, a 3-year contract, the discussion essentially was that's a normal thing for a business manager to have a 3-year contract. We don't feel in any way that it's going to get in the way of consolidation. And we're making decisions for Carlton right now,
Right.
because that's where we are and that's who we are right now. We're not making decisions for Renshaw. So that would be just my point.
I appreciate it.
Any other discussion? Any further discussion? I'll call for a third time. Is there any further discussion? There's a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Sue, would you please call the roll vote?
Yes, Julianne,
Yes.
Susan, yes.
Yeah.
Sam.
Yes.
So, Laura,
No.
Aaron,
Yes.
Ryan.
Nope.
Motion carries 4-2. 10.4, approve the hire of Megan Sherman as paraprofessional at South Terrace Elementary effective April 20th, 2024. Have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Sam, is there support?
I support.
There's support from Aaron. Any discussion? There's no discussion, are there any objections? There being no objections, that motion carries 6-0. 10.5, do I have a motion please to approve the hire of Tim Sinkowski as at 1.0 FTE special education teacher at South Terrace Elementary for the 24-25 school year at a BA 6.0 / MA, step 1, effective September 3rd, 2024.
Motion.
Motion by Ryan, is there support?
I support.
There's support from Sue. Any discussion? There's no discussion, all those in favor please say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, and that motion carries 6-0. 10.6, do I have a motion please to approve the hire of Josephine Steller as STEAM teacher at South Terrace for the 24-25 school year at BA 60 / MA step 1 with a start date to be determined, anticipated to be November of 2024. Do I have a motion please?
Motion.
Motion by Ryan, is there support?
I support.
There's support from Sue. Any discussion? There's no discussion. Are there any objections? There being no objections, that motion carries 6-0. 10.7, do I have a motion to approve the hire of Autumn Burt as middle school, high school, long-term sub, paraprofessional? Yes, LTS, no.
I'm sorry, Autumn Bird, she's
Yeah.
a long-term sub, paraprofessional.
At middle
Yeah.
school, high school, effective August 27, 2024. Have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Ryan, is there support?
Support.
Support from Sam, sorry, Sue. Any discussion? There's no discussion, are there any objections? And that motion carries 6-0. 10.8, do I have a motion please to approve the hire of Kelly Banks as middle school, high school, long-term sub for special education effective August 27, 2024?
Motion.
Motion by Ryan, is there support?
I support.
Support from Sue. Any discussion? There's no discussion, are there any objections? That motion carries 6-0. 10.9, do I have a motion please to approve Austin Larva as the junior high football coach for the 24-25 school year?
Motion.
Motion by Ryan, is there support?
Support.
Support from Sam. Any discussion? There's no discussion, are there any objections? That motion carries 6-0. We have a motion please to approve the hire of Summer Martinson as paraprofessional at South Terrace Elementary, effective September 16, 2024, pending a successful background check.
Motion.
Motion by Ryan, is there support?
I support.
There's support from Sue. Any discussion?
Can I add something this summer? Just very quickly, Summer started with us last year through, Laura, what's the name of your program? I can't remember off the JEP program. And she started with us kind of part-time working with our elementary kids, and now she's back for a full-time position. So it's pretty cool to see that that program worked and that she's back, and we're pretty excited to have her working with our kids, so.
She also did the year before in preschool as a reading.
Oh, there you go, reading core in preschool, so now she's got a full-time job, so that's fun.
Okay, there's a motion and there's a second. Any discussion? Pending successful background. So we'll just approve that. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries 6-0. 10.11, do I have a motion please to accept the resignation of Tamara Stefan as the STEAM teacher effective August 28th, 2024?
I move.
Motion by Sue, is there support?
Support.
Support from Aaron. Any discussion? There's no discussion, are there any objections? There's no objections, that motion carries 6-0. 10.12, do I have a motion to accept the resignation of Kristen Rademacher as a special education teacher effective August 29, 2024?
Motion.
Motion by Ryan.
Support.
There's support from Aaron. Any discussion? There's no discussion. Are there any objections? And that motion carries 6-0. 10.13, do I have a motion to accept the resignation of Kelly Rosine Olson as food service cook effective September 9, 2024?
Motion.
Motion by Aaron, support from Ryan. Any discussion? There's no discussion, are there any objections? Being no objections, that motion carries 6-0. 10.14, do I have a motion to rescind the offer to Nikki Lister as head cook at South Terrace Elementary? Motion by Ryan, is there support? Support. Support from Aaron. Any discussion? There's no discussion, are there any objections? And that motion carries 6-0. 10.15, do I have a motion please to rescind the offer to Cassie Akovic as paraprofessional at South Terrace Elementary?
Motion.
Motion by Ryan, is there support? Support. Support from Aaron. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, are there any objections? And that motion carries 6-0. 10.16, do I have a motion please to approve the hire of Schedule C 24-25 advisors as follow. Knowledge Bowl, Tracy Bachrader. Math Team, Christy Wilbert. National Honor Society, Tracy Bachrader. Peer Helper, Amanda Radke. Yearbook Advisor, Amanda Radke. Student Council, Brian Schmidt. Drama Director, Amanda Radke. Is there a motion by Aaron? Is there support?
Support.
Support from Ryan. Any discussion? There's no discussion. Are there any objections? And that motion carries 6-0. 10.17 was the addition. This is to approve the FMLA request by Cindy Erickson, paraprofessional. Yeah, paraprofessional. Do I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Ryan. Is there support? Support. Support from Aaron. Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Pose same sign. And that motion carries 6-0. Reminders, our October committee meeting dates. Just keep in mind, October 14th is, discussed earlier, is Indigenous Peoples' Day. So meetings that were on Monday, are now on Tuesday. So Facility Committee meets October 15th at 4:30. Policy Committee meets October 15th at 6. School Board Work Session scheduled, that's October 15th at 7 p.m. Finance Committee meeting moved from October 8th to October 15th, and those are at 4:30. Yes? Great. Finance
yes.
is at 4:30.
Yeah.
Future meetings, so the whole list I just read, the future meetings are there as well. Although Finance Committee, what is correct, it's actually supposed to be the 16th. So just keep in mind that it's supposed to be the 16th. Under reminders, it's not correct.
We changed it to
It should be
the 8th,
Wednesday
right?
the 16th. What's that?
Didn't we change it up here to the 8th of October?
I can't hear you.
Didn't we change it to the 8th of October up here?
No, from October 8th. I don't know why it's moved.
Oh. We have like 3 other dates here.
It should be the Wednesday preceding the regular work meeting.
Okay,
And it's
alright.
always at 4:30 and it's always in the district office. We have a regular school board meeting, it's Monday, October 21st at 7 p.m. right here in the middle school, high school library. Do I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I have something. We have a meeting for
Oh, when is that?
I didn't write it down,
Okay, that's all right. Can you let Denita know?
but I'm wondering who's on the committee. I know I volunteered.
It's you.
Disney. Oh, wow.
Thanks,
And me.
and Danita, that was a good question.
And I have another,
And also there is a Raptors co-op committee this week, Wednesday, the 18th, I don't know what time or where.
In Rancho.
4:30 in Rancho.
and that's the Raptors committee, correct?
What?
The Raptors committee.
Co-op committee, it's not
Yeah.
us. What's that?
What was the name of the committee?
Meet and confer.
We'll have 3 regular scheduled meetings this year, and meet with teachers, talk about issues. And I have one other thing, not a meeting. This Saturday is the Big Lake Golf Tournament to raise money for
Oh.
scholarships and the silent auction. So if you golf or want to give a silent auction gift, I'm sure Rachel will be busy helping with the silent auction, setting it up. Anyway, that's this weekend, and usually they raise $2,000 to $3,000. It's a great event at Big Lake.
Okay, thanks. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Ryan, is there support?
Support.
Support from Sam. Any discussion? Are there any objections? The meeting is adjourned at 8:15 PM.
School board, can you just remember to give me your school board bios, either right now before you leave, or in the next day or two? Finance.
Finance.
It says it's canceled